On your marks, get set, bake.
I love that.
Good flavor.
That I really like.
That is delicious.
Bakers, your time is up.
Left you muted when the video played.
There we go.
A fascinating development, people. We've had this happen before. It just froze right when I got started. What am I to do? It doesn't even say it's uploading right now. This is going to be a fun one. It does say it's recording, and it does say the stream's going. So I'm going to assume all this right.
So on my end, it says that we're 91% uploaded.
Very good. Then I will keep it moving. Hello and welcome to it. It's Crème Patissier. It's a great British bake-off podcast. It's hosted by me, the internet's Taylor713, and her, the internet's Nick Jew. What's good, people? We back at it again. It is we are once again reviewing the Great American Baking Show on the Roku channel. And this week is Pastry Week. And just by any old bit of dumb luck, this week's guest had a hell of a week, y'all.
I believe Zach Cherry said you were roasted. Was it Zach?
Yeah. It was that's probably the nicest thing you could say that happened. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's Baker Chris Stefanski joining us to talk about Pastry Week and himself and so forth and so on. It's a delight to have you, sir. Welcome to it.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
And we excited to have you. I was wondering, I was like, because quite as kept. Nick and I watch the show week to week. So of course, like though I have the ability to watch it all, I still do it week to week because that's how I try to prepare for it. So when you was like, oh my God, of course it's week 4, I'm like, ooh, what happened in week 4 with my man Chris? And then I saw what happened in week 4 from my man Chris, and whew, buddy, can't wait to discuss that with you. Cannot wait.
It was a little rough. It was a little rough.
It's okay. Rough in a good way. Everybody had a kind of a tough pastry week. I can tell you that. So that was a rare week in pastry week, man. It gets at you. So
yeah.
You weren't alone, at least, you know. So, but you know what it is? Every week we come through and we do the darn thing, and we try to hit you with a little news from the world of baking. But this series or this season, as I'm dropping stuff on my desk, my news has just been people from the show hanging out. Now next week we're getting a return guest, so next week I actually have to find a news story for you. Don't know what it'll be, but you'll have a news story. But this week's news story is Chris and us interviewing Chris, and that means I need to pull out my video panel, which disappeared because I had to reset everything. And then I push this button. Bakers make the world go round. Hold on, I got to throw this up in the chat right quick. Yes, the U.S. version's been back. This is the 3rd season of the U.S. version. It's on the Roku channel. You can watch it for free if you have a Roku device. It's much easier, but if not, the Roku.com, the RokuChannel.com works like a breeze. You should be watching it. It's amazing. And if you just want to listen for us for a little bit, and you'll find out why it's so amazing. In this case, we're going to interview Chris, who is a baker from this season. So that's pretty, fly. You know what I'm saying? You get somebody who was in the tent, tell you about his tent action, so forth and so on. Got a bunch of questions for you. And we'll start with the basic one, which is always, were you a fan of the Bake Off before this? And if so, do you have a favorite baker?
Okay, so I was a fan of the show, but before I was a fan of the show, I was not a fan of the show. My wife used to watch the show, and she would watch it. I would be playing video games. She would be in the other room. I'd walk into the room, and it would be, what what are you watching in here? What's going on? And she's like, no, this is comfy. She'd be under her covers. She's like, oh, it's calm, it's comfortable. I like it. It's just nice. Everybody's nice to each other. I'm like, but what is this? Like, this is a baking competition from the UK, from however many years ago. I'm like, no, this is dumb. This is dumb. And I'd walk out of the room, and then I'd come into the room and she'd be watching it again, and I'd linger a little bit longer, and then I'd linger a little bit longer, and then it would be, well, what's this? Who's that guy? What are they doing over here? And then it slowly turned into me sitting and watching with her, and then we would sit and we'd watch together, and it would be, oh, what's this thing that they're making? Oh, I want to eat that. We should eat that. And she'd be like, oh, you should make it for me. I'd be like,
That's what's up.
okay, I'm gonna figure it out. And then it evolved from there. Yeah, it evolved from there. So I didn't start out liking the show. I thought it was kind of silly. But then I definitely got roped in, and it turned into a thing that we both watched together, and we've kind of been hooked since then.
Absolutely love that. Do you have a favorite baker from the British variation?
If I had to pick one, probably it would be Liam.
Oh, he was going to be mine this week. That's okay. I have many. He's
just like, there's a bunch that I like, but especially because we've been trying to I have a 10-year-old daughter, so we've been like getting her into it a little bit, and we've been watching Junior Bake Off. Yeah. And it's like, oh, you'll love Liam. Liam's great. And he's like, he doesn't take himself too seriously, and he's just kind of there, and he's happy, and he's in it, and it's just, he's fun to watch, and I like his vibe.
Dig. I love that.
He's a fun follow on Instagram, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a delightful guy. What got you into baking in general? What started you down the path of, I'm going to be a baker?
It was this show. So I always cooked. Like, I like to cook. But I never really baked before this. My wife would bake. She would bake cookies, she would bake cakes. Like, that was kind of like her thing. I'd never, like, baking just wasn't really, I don't know, it felt too scientific. I know you just had Parwana on, and like you guys were talking about like the science behind it. And I never really liked it because of that. Like, I liked that cooking, you could just like throw a bunch of shit together and like you're making something.
Yeah.
But like baking, you had to be much more specific and precise with certain things. But then watching the show, there were certain things that was like, oh, I kind of want to try that. I kind of want to eat that. I kind of want to figure that out. So I started kind of baking from that. I was like scrolling through my photos, like prepping for this, like, when did I actually start like doing this? So like the first thing that I could find, like, cause I would always take pictures of my food, in my photos, it started to switch to baking around like 2017.
Okay.
And it was a lot of stuff. It was a lot of like British recipes. It was like Victoria sandwiches and like that kind of stuff. And it was all like bake off stuff, because that's why I started watching it and I started baking it. And I feel like I like to learn how to do things. So it was kind of like, it was this thing where it's like, ooh, I don't know what this is, and I want to figure this out. Yeah. So it was kind of like I got into it through there. And then with baking, there's so many different like aspects of it, that it just kind of like hooked me and pulled me in, because I just wanted to learn all this new stuff.
Very cool. You got a favorite, I don't know, bake of any sort that you like? I love making this, or there's something that you love that your family really appreciates or anything?
I don't know if I do, because like I like to learn how to do different things. Yeah. So like I'll make something and I'll figure it out and I'll bake it and I'll be like, oh, this is cool. I learned how to do this. And then I'll never make it again. And it's just like, it's like, well, I figured it out. Why would I want to do that again? I really like, I like a lot of like peanut butter stuff.
Yeah.
But my wife and my daughter, they'll eat it. Like it's not their favorite. They'll eat it. But usually like when I'm baking things or making things, I'm making it for other people. So like I won't always like go towards that stuff. But yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where like I'd like to learn how to make something, and then it's just on the list of things like, oh, I know how to do that. Let me learn how to do something else.
Fair. I get that. It's brownies, it's chocolate chip pie. These things. Oh, and a peanut butter pie that I always have to make because that's a thing that
Peanut butter pie. Like
Yeah.
peanut butter pie is like it's like top tier.
Yeah, for sure. I get down with on that particular one. That's actually that's a no bake pie, the one I make. So yeah.
I can't believe I've never had peanut butter pie. It sounds fantastic.
Oh, if ever you're around these parts, or let's go, Easter is Christmas is year. I got you.
Word.
I have to prepare. The children love it. It's okay. So, in the real world, you teach kids. That's great. Does anything teaching wise, did you find like, I don't know, it prepared you in some way for being in the tent? Did it give you any kind of guidance to the situation, or you're like, no, these are two very separate things?
I mean, they're very separate things, but they're also like it's when you're in a school, you're on like all the time. So I teach a couple classes. I do technology in the school. I run the media center in the school. So like I have all these like different things that I have to do. But like it's crazy. It's hectic. You're just always on and you're performing like for these kids. So it's just that sort of mentality where just you have to be like ready to go and just be prepared for chaos at any given moment. I think that helped me prepare for this. Not anything specific with baking, but just like that mentality where like anything could happen at any given moment. Definitely that definitely flows.
What grade do you teach?
So I work in a high school.
Okay.
So I've actually worked with students from like pre-K all the way through like grad level. So I work like my full-time job is in a high school. I adjunct at a college teaching those guys too. So I've dealt with all of them. But like high school is like this weird little like group where they're like sort of adults, but not really adults. So it's just like you can interact with them, you can kind of have fun with them, you can watch them grow, but they're also still maniacs.
I started mentoring at a high school this year, and I have never felt so old in my life. Like, these are babies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. And like half of the kids are 18, but I'm like, oh, you're a baby.
Yeah. My wife works at a high school too. So it's like you're in a time capsule. Mm-hmm. Like you don't realize what it's like to work with adults or be around adults, because everybody for the past 15 years has been between 13 and 18 years old, and like that's just what it is.
Do you get to only teach art, or do you have to teach other subjects?
So I actually like my path to art teaching was like this really like roundabout way. So I went to college to become an art teacher. I made it to my junior year of college and decided, you know what, I can't do this. And I switched majors. I was sitting in a basket weaving class, and I got up and I walked out and I changed my major. And I changed it to classics, which you can't do anything with the classics degree. So I did that. I got into I worked for a bank for a couple of years, and I'm like, you know what, maybe this was the wrong idea. Maybe I should have stayed in education. So the classics degree, I was able to kind of work my way back into education. And because I was good with computers, I ended up teaching computers to like pre-K through 8th graders. So I did like like ed tech sort of stuff for a little bit. And then I did technology, and I was a director of technology, and I worked my way through all of that, got into public school. And then like once COVID started rolling around and there was all this like funding issues with technology, I'm like, oh, well, I have my art degree. I can do art too. So I picked up a couple of the art classes at school, and did like digital art, and like kind of worked my way in through there. So like I joke that like I worked my way down like through education. Like
I was gonna say it's usually the other way around.
Like they work up to like administration. I was director of technology for a little bit, and like now I'm an art teacher. So the school that I work for, I teach art classes. I run the media center. I do technology. So like I fix Chromebooks and computers and stuff. I help the teachers with their technology stuff. So it's like a little bit of everything, which is good job security, I guess. But
yeah. I think it was the first episode they say that you also 3D print.
Yeah.
What is the like most unusual thing or the coolest thing you've 3D printed?
So I'll do like random stuff, but I guess so at one point, a few years ago, we went to New York Comic-Con, and I made a full cosplay for Kratos. And I 3D printed like a bunch of like I did like the buckles. Like I bought like a full roll of leather, and like I made like the armor out of leather. But like I 3D printed like all these like little parts for it. I did the like the shield, and I did different like pieces for that. So like that was probably the best thing that I've used it for. A lot of it's just like random, like, oh, I'm gonna print this thing to like hang my headphones over here and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think the Kratos thing was probably
Creative people are so dope. I love that. It's like I'm about to 3D print my costume for Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's how it should be. That's how it rolls. Well, I mean, if we're gonna be dipping our toes in video games, your kid's name is Clementine. Is she named after Clem from The Walking Dead?
She is not.
Okay.
But it was around that same time.
Yeah.
But when we decided to have our daughter, my wife always referred to her kids as like her darlings.
Yeah.
And we were like trying to like figure out names.
Oh, my darling Clementine.
My darling Clementine. And it was like that one like stuck with me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, it's not going to be too weird because there's Clementine from The Walking Dead, and like it won't be like completely out there. Like we want it to be like a little bit unique, but not like anything that she would get like ripped on for.
Love it. My kid is Lee from Because of The Walking Dead.
Oh, nice.
But he keeps that quiet. He keeps that on the quiet because his mom's middle name was Lee. And so he's like, if anybody asks, we can just say his mom. But in reality, it's because I love The Walking Dead. I'm like, that's cool, son. I get that.
My nephew's middle name is Kalis, which apparently is a Klingon warrior.
Oh, sick. Oh, did your brother know that? Your brother knew that though, right?
My brother is a big Trekkie.
Yeah. As I go through it, I'm like, anything else I need to pull from the hat here?
I have questions.
Oh, have at.
I have questions. Are you from New Jersey originally?
Oh yeah, I'm from. I was born in New York. I was born in Staten Island.
We don't really talk about that.
Yeah. But so the joke is my parents, like me and my brother were born there, but they didn't want us to get the accent, so like they
popped you over to
they moved us out to New Jersey, before that happened. And then I've been in New Jersey since then. Yeah.
Okay. Well, since you're here, I want to talk about your cookie movie theater thing to your face, because I was incredibly impressed by it, especially the little popcorn inside the machine. Are you a Kevin Smith fan?
I'm definitely a Kevin Smith fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured maybe because of the location, that might be a good hunch.
Yeah.
I knew you was from North Jersey when you said Taylor Ham, my guy. It was all over. I was like, oh, I know where he's from. He is not from Pork Roll country.
I was listening to you guys with Adela, and I heard you say that. I'm like, yep, he gets it.
Yeah.
I said to when I emailed the producers about that, it was I know copyright's a thing. I know it's called Taylor Pork Roll, and it's not. Taylor Ham is technically not what it's called. I'm like, but if copyright's a thing, I'm like, please let me call it Taylor Ham, because if you don't let me call it Taylor Ham, they're gonna kick me out of North Jersey.
Well, you'll never be able to walk the streets of Jersey again.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, also fucking incredible. Have you done a lot of illusion cakes?
No.
It's wild. He just came on the show and was like, "I'm about to."
that was like one of those things where it was like, all right, so you have to do an illusion cake. I'm like, okay, and it has to be an illusion cake based off of your hometown, whatever. So I'm like, what the heck am I gonna make? Like what's a New Jersey thing? And it's like we have bagels and pizza and Taylor Ham. Like that's it, kind of. So like the first thought was like, oh, I could do pizza. It's like, oh, but if someone's from New York, like pizza, I don't know. Pizza is always associated with New York. Bagels are like, the Taylor Ham egg and cheese is like that's the New Jersey thing. So then it was trying to figure out like how to work my way back into it to make it look like that. And it was a fun one, and it was the one that I think I was most proud of, like making and doing. When I had that first week where, there was a very good chance that I wasn't making past that first week. I'm like, I really want to make this Taylor Ham cake. But like my thing always was with baking, like I would get to a point where I would like make something or bake something, and I would just kind of run out of steam, and it would be like, oh well, this is going to taste good. It's fine. Like it's fine if it's sloppy. It's all the hard work's done. Here you go. Right. So like kind of transitioning into that, like, no, you have to make it look really, really nice too. That was harder. So yeah, that was the first like real like illusion cake that I'd ever done.
That egg yolk?
Come on, bro. So
that good. Busted and ran. I was like, oh, Chris is in the tent. He's in the tent.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that almost didn't happen because I almost messed that up. Because not only did I forget to put eggs in my cake initially.
Oh, right.
Also, so to do that process, you put the sodium alginate in with water, and then you put the calcium lactate in with the other part for like the reverse purification. So like I did that, and I'm like, oh, the water looks a little thin. It's fine, whatever, it's fine. And I started going and do other stuff, and then I'm going through to make something, and I go to look for my baking soda, which they label everything over there is like the British label, so it's sodium bicarbonate.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm looking for like that. I'm like, where is it? And it's in my pile of stuff that I already used. I'm like, I didn't use that yet. I'm like, no. So I realized what I did, and I had to like flag somebody down to like get more distilled water. And then I was able to like redo it. I'm like, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. And if I didn't figure that out then, it would have just been just like.
You did it, and it was incredible. I just have one more question, then we can start the show.
Oh, you're good.
So do they tell you the order of the weeks that you're going to do? So as you're practicing, like, the first week is this, second week is that?
Yeah, so we were given that in advance, and we would get like a week at a time. So it was like all right, first week is cookie week. Here's your cookie week recipes, and then we would have about a week to like get that stuff in.
Okay.
And then we would build off of that. So it was like a lot of like, all right, I'm waking up at 5:30 for work. Working until 3:30. I'm coming home. I'm baking until 10:30. I'm going to bed, and then like getting that stuff ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had that.
I always wonder too, because it's like, do they just give you a list of all the possible bakes and then you just show up that week and you're like, it's this one this week?
Yeah, no, we definitely knew what was coming when. So I knew when I was struggling during Cookie Week, after that first day of Cookie Week, where I did my tweels that were a disaster, and then the technical, which was not great. I called my wife. I'm like, this is it. I'm like, as bad as it could have gone is how bad it went today.
But
I'm like,
your Showstopper was great.
Yeah. I needed to pull it out, and it was like, I really want to do that Taylor ham cake for next week. So I knew that was coming.
Dang. I think it has worked out swimmingly thus far. So I'm with you, man. So, but that was the little interview portion of the program. Look, I finally added this to our repertoire.
Yay!
Right now. So this is what happens when I don't have to edit this into the show. It's just going to be a part of the show naturally. Watch. I want y'all to know how proud I am of that music fade. I just want you to know how clean I got that bad boy to go out. Respect your boy out there. It is Pastry Week, which is a challenging week for many a reason, but this particular one, wowzers, y'all. This was a tough one in the tent this go around. Our remaining bakers are Miss Adela, it's Alma, it's Chris, this guy right here, it's Daniel, and it's Kim. Our intro was a little play rehearsal kind of vibe.
I loved it.
Once again, to me, they just got it. So I was very amused by that, especially the way Zach like took a turn, was like, hold on, wait.
When he got into it at the end.
Not rough. I'm like, yo. So a well-edited intro this go around, y'all.
And if your crust is not flaky and buttery, then leave, and you shan't return.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm rehearsing my play for Pastry Week. Can you run some lines with me, actually? You're gonna play the role of Shoe Pastry's kind of my on and off boyfriend, so there's like a little drama, okay? So really...
Okay, so... Lady Casey, how dare you go to the ball with Philo Pastry?
There are so many pastries in the world. How do you expect a lady to choose just one?
Are there any others? I must know.
All right, last night, Rough Puff Pastry came to see me in my chamber.
Rough Puff? That rapscallion? What next? My fair lady's going to tell me she had a tryst with short crust as well? Preposterous!
And scene. Wow, that was wonderful. Very moving.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to the Great American Baking Show!
Think this has a shot for Broadway? Be honest.
I think for sure.
Pastry Week is a fun week for me. I enjoy it's when I get to be real, like I get to tell you guys, the listeners, about this type of pastry, this type of filling, this type of whatever. I get to get real
technical.
It really is. I get to do a lot of breakdowns. But I also get to discover and remember, wait a minute, this got done recently. So then I got some callbacks for you this week. So it's going to be a real fun episode to break down. Nick, set me off.
Our signature challenge is a Tarte Tatin, which was made famous by two sisters from Paris in the 1800s. The judges are asking for one sweet or savory Tarte Tatin. Should be made using a rough or full puff pastry. They're looking for good lamination and a perfect bake, and they have 2 hours and 30 minutes.
might recall, the Tatin was in the most recent season of Bake Off. It was a technical challenge. They also had to make walnut ice cream to go with it. And so they had to very specific Tatin they had to make. You guys got to get a little more freestyle, get a little kind of play with it a little bit more. I like that they mentioned to you, yeah, this could be savory. And then Paul this whole time, I want the caramel, just a little brat about it. Like, bruh, it can be savory. Let somebody make a couple of savory tartatins and enjoy their work. Stop.
This whole episode, I was like, this is the American baking show. What the hell is this?
It's okay. A tartatin. It's just fun to say. Got to tell you that too. Kim's up top. Kim is going for a banana split tartatin. It's going to be bananas and a cinnamon bourbon filling in a rough puff pastry. The way she did it, she sliced these. It was some banana chops. There was some big chunks of banana. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. I don't eat banana, but I mean, I was like, okay, I kind of see what we're going for here. But, no, I can never eat it.
No bananas for me either.
Thank you.
I would have smashed it.
I know. Chris is up next. Old fashioned tartatin, going for a full puff as opposed to a rough puff pastry. For the casing, meant to mimic the cocktail of the old fashioned bourbon soaked orange and cherry filling. Go on, sir. Tell me more.
Yeah. So like if I'm having a cocktail, it's either like it's something bourbon, so it's either old fashioned or like a Manhattan.
Yeah.
And this one just felt like, because it was so like fruit based, something fun to kind of do for this to try. So like I tried soaking the oranges, and like I know that Prue likes candied oranges a lot, so there's a little bit of that going on in there,
and liquor,
because you're playing to your audience
for sure.
So it was one of those things, and trying to make it because to figure things out and try new things, trying to figure out a way to get this thing to work in thing. So it was that was the idea, and then trying to get the full puff pastry to work with it as well was a good challenge, and it was fun. I enjoyed doing this one. That one was fun.
Those cherries were gorgeous. I'm sitting there like, why don't we get cherries like that here? Every time I see fruit in the UK, I'm always like, they got something going on. I need to know where they fruit's coming from.
I felt bad because like we get like we practice with our stuff, and like we're allowed to bring the specific ingredients with us. So like I had cherries that I was practicing with and doing it. And they're like, oh, we got you your cherries. And they had this like giant thing of cherries. I'm like, I need like 10. Like, that's it. Like I'm going to cut them in half and I'm going to put it around the edge. Like that's all I need. So they're like all these cherries, but they're very good with the ingredients that we don't use. They use it for other stuff. So like during bread week, when I made like the pickled jalapeno, whatever, like they knew that I only needed 3 jalapenos to make it. And it was like this giant vat of jalapenos that they had. And they're like, oh, we're pickling the rest of them and we're doing this and so like they would use up all the stuff. So I didn't feel too bad. But yeah, it was like this like beautiful thing of cherries that they gave me that they got like shipped in from somewhere. That I just used to line around the outside, and that was it.
I need to know they fruit dealer, because everything always looks so wonderful on that show. I'm like, man.
What's the difference between a rough puff and a other?
So a rough puff and a full puff. I've made rough puff a couple times, and I don't make it that often. So like I don't know the full process, but I know you take like cold, like frozen butter, and you grate it into it, like almost like it's not like a pie dough, but it's that similar process where you have like super cold butter and you fold it in. So you're like folding that stuff in, whereas full puff, you have your dough and you have your butter and they're separate, and then you fold it in. So you have basically like layer of dough butter as you go through, and it's more of a time consuming process. You have to get like a certain number of folds in.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it was a risk doing the full puff as opposed to the rough puff. But I was more comfortable with it. And I figured I had to give it a shot.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Daniel's up next. He's going for a spiced plum tartatan using an umeshu soaked plum filling. Umeshu, if you didn't know, because I didn't, is Japanese plum wine. And I didn't put plum right there, but apparently the word plum is a word, and Windows didn't tell me no better. He's going for a blind baked rough puff, which everybody was like, well, not everybody, but Paul was like, man, I ain't never heard of that. And it was like, let me cook, baby. For literally in this case.
Right.
It's like, because Paul was being super judgy this week. You thought bread week was bad. He was on one this week, y'all. Alma's going for out of the garden tartatan, rough puff pastry base, topped with caramelized carrots and shallots. How did Paul say it? Shallots. He said it was real weird.
Shallot.
Yeah, shallot. I'm like, I like the way you phrased that, sir. Adela is going for a New York pizza tartatan, cherry tomatoes and red onion on a rough puff pastry base, finished with a bit of ricotta. The very ideal. Was so fly to me. I was like, yes, please. That's why I'm like the savory joints this week. I was just like, yeah, both of them so I can get down with. So it was just the bananas, and that's no disrespect to Kim. I love me some Kim. Don't like bananas, baby. Let's judge this operation. Oh, I had to write this down to you, man. Puffed but soggy, the Chris Stefanski story. I was just like, puffed but soggy made me laugh when you said that. I was like, that is crazy talk. Daniel is up first. Everything needs more baking. The plums are almost raw, very tart. The base is okay, pretty flaky. Paul would have liked more color on it. Missed it slightly on this one.
He said the inside's going to be done since you baked it separately, right? I'm like, Paul.
I'm telling you, he was on one this week, man.
Wow.
It was wild. I was like, you got to settle down, Mr. Hollywood. You tripping. Kim's up next. They like the cover and the overall look. It's clever the way bananas are done, but it's dry, mostly due to those same bananas. They probably just got in there and soaked up all the caramel. And I never would have thought of bananas as spongy like material like that for doing that to caramel, but that's exactly what they did. They went in there and soaked up all the moisture, so it was a dry bake. But it looked absolutely gorgeous, y'all. The caramel was beautifully brown, just lovely to look at.
Poor Kim, she practiced that like 29 times.
29 times. That was the 30th bake. 31 is probably the banger, y'all.
She practiced that at least like 4 or 5 times while we were in the UK too.
Yeah.
So like she did that one a lot. And it's kind of like a joke between us too, because like she cut the bananas like thick-ish because one of Paul Hollywood's like banana tartatan videos, like if you look it up, like he cuts them thick.
Yeah.
So when it was like, oh, they're a little bit too thick, we're all like, what
the hell?
That's how you did them.
Sorry, this is your recipe.
Oh, so it's do as I say and not as I do. Don't do either of it.
Oh my gosh. Alma's up next. It looks very neat. You can see the lamination from the side there. The pastry is too thick, pretty much raw dough. What stinks about this, I guess, is the flavor is amazing. The carrots are caramelized nice, as are the shallots, but it's not a good dough. Far too thick. So nearly perfect.
It was so pretty, too.
It really was.
It was
I like the way she did that. That's kind of, I don't know. Again, I have no desire to ever eat and or prepare a tartatan, but the notion was there, y'all. Della, they like the center, but it's burnt on the outside. So if you saw it, it was dark. It kind of looked like when it was like oven pizzas, you know what I'm saying? Had that little darkness to it, which kind of works for me. Nice and flaky, but it's blackened too much on the bits, as Paul says. But to prove the ricotta is a nice touch. Well, no, the ricotta is a nice a touch of genius and works well with the other ingredients. I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you. It's like you take it out too soon, it's not right. You leave it in too long, it's not right. It's like it was just a tough one, y'all. For this guy, unusual, interesting, love the flavor. A very grown-up tartatan. The alcohol burned off, but you get a nice bourbon back note with the orange. A bit of a damp spot, but love the flavor and flake. You crushed it, man.
Yeah, I was very I felt good going into the technical. After that one, I was confident they liked it. Aside from like that leak on the side,
Yeah.
I feel like taking that risk of doing the full puff pastry kind of like made a difference.
It paid off. Mhm.
Yeah, and the flavor was good, and yeah, like Paul liked it. Prue very much liked it.
Yeah, killed it. Love that for you, man. In fact, yours was probably the only like, okay, this is a tartatan done how we like it, tastes like we like it. That's a tartatan. You did the thing, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Checkbox. You got like, I did it.
I was watching and I was like, oh, Chris brought his guns to the tent this week.
So it was funny. It was funny watching that like during like our watch party. We actually had my wife and I watched that episode and the final episodes with Kim at her watch party. And when this episode comes on and I'm in the Shark Tank top, I'm sitting there and we're like looking around like, all right, people are gonna laugh. Like this is not like a normal thing that like a normal person would just like throw on and wear. But like nobody says anything. I don't know if they were like being nice or yeah, but
I didn't even notice the sharks until Casey said something, and then I felt like a jerk because I was like, "Oh, the arms! Oh, we got some armpits in the tent."
Yeah, there were sharks.
Told you that wonderful story.
Yeah. Well, what was funny too is Paul, during like the setup where like they come over and they ask you about like, oh, what are you baking? What's this? What's this? They're talking to me about my bake, and then Paul just looks at me and he goes, "What the hell are you wearing?" I really wanted that to make the final cut, but it didn't. They just left the Casey part in.
Maybe it's swag. Don't ask, man. Don't worry about it. We're wearing this.
Was it just a particular conversation with Clem that night, or did she pick your outfits other times?
So that started because before we went to the UK, like the producers, they don't push anything on you. They want you to be you, but they want to just check what you're planning on wearing just to make sure, because they don't like, you can't have any like logos or like any of that stuff, so they just need to approve that stuff. They also said that there's sometimes the camera will like interact poorly with certain patterns, so they're like send us a picture of the stuff that you're planning on wearing, just so we can have an idea. So Clem wanted to do like a little fashion show, so I put on some of the stuff and she took pictures, and like we put on the Shark Tank top as a joke. And the showrunner was like, "Yep, everything's fine." And I mentioned in the email, I'm like the Shark Tank top's a joke, like it's just a joke. And he wrote back, he's like, "Yep, everything's fine, even the Shark Tank top if you want to wear that." So it made it into my bag, and then when I didn't wear it for the first couple episodes, and then when my wife and daughter came to the UK, I'm like, "Oh, Clem, what should I wear for the next episode?" She's like Shark Tank top. Like, I'm like, all right.
I always ask. I forgot to ask. Man, have you ever been to the UK before, or is that like one of your first times over there?
I have. So I've been there once or twice before that. My grandmother was actually British.
Okay.
So my grandmother on my mom's side was British. So she was. I think this story is she was actually one of like the kids during World War II that like got like the little like pin on their jacket and like shipped up to the country like out of London.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so she was British. So I have a cousin that lives in Jersey, in the Jersey Island. And then one of my aunts lived over there for a while too.
Very cool. I love the Jersey's just in you, just both sides of the world.
Yeah, it's Jersey.
Nick, set me up.
Technical challenge is set by Prue, who advised the bakers to think about the texture of every element of this bake. Deja vu here. The technical challenge this week was 4 beautifully piped Perry breasts, typically baked in a ring shape to resemble a bicycle tire because it's named after that race that we talked about when we talked about this for the other version of the show, topped with crackling and filled with pistachio mousseline cream, and they will have 2 hours and 15 minutes.
You remember Pastry Week just last year? Yeah, guess what? And during Pastry Week last year on Bake Off, the Showstopper was a Perry Brest. So it's like, I like that these worlds kind of collide like this in a fun way. A Perry Brest is traditionally a pâte à choux with praline creme mousseline. Here they want a pistachio creme mousseline and a crackling top. Creme mousseline, aka German buttercream, is made by combining a thick creme pat, then lightened up with whipped butter. So bang out, y'all. Get your Perry Brest on. You know what it is, technical. I can't really do much for you. They make them, they present them, we judge them. Chris, man, you had a real hard time with the old Perry Brest. Had you heard of a Perry Brest before?
I have not, but I've made choux pastry like plenty of times before. Yeah. It's like one of those things where like they started explaining it and my mind just like went blank.
Yeah.
And I was like even going into it, like reading, there was enough, like the recipe was like, the recipes are always stripped down.
Yeah.
But there was enough on there. I should have been able to figure it out. The creme mousseline may have still come out like garbage, but like I should have been able to do the rest of it like okay. And I definitely did not. This was the one episode out of all the episodes that like I was looking forward to watching the most.
Yeah.
Just because like I knew how rough it was. I feel like I did well enough in the first challenge that I knew I was doing awful, but I wasn't too stressed out about it because I knew I did well in the morning.
Yeah.
So I could just kind of like roll with it and kind of like ride it out. But yeah, like I was all the way in the back. Daniel was in front of me. I think I was in the back. Daniel was in front of me. Alma was in the front row. And then Kim was in the front over there. And then Adela was kind of here. And like, I could hear everything that Adela was saying. And like, she really knew what she was doing. Like,
yeah.
She did. And like, you heard it. And like, I could hear everything she was saying. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like this is this is not going
well, how
well
did
for me.
you only end up with one leg? Like you didn't have the top cookie?
It just didn't so like I baked it and like I said, like I've made choux pastry before and like it puffs up and it's fine, but like I didn't cook it down enough and I didn't like beat out enough of the flour and cook it down. So when I piped it, it was too wet and I baked it and like puffed up. I'm like, okay. And like I grabbed it and I flipped it over and it was just like, it was concave on the bottom.
It died.
Like it was like a skate park. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, I can't cut into this because it was just like, it was like a bicycle tire. So I'm like, well, here we go. And I like plopped them on the plate and I piped the creme mousseline in and I threw some raspberries on. And then like I'm sitting back there and like I see everybody else like cutting theirs, like stacking. I'm like, oh God. And then like at one point, like Kim's in the front and I'm in the back and I'm done. They're like, there's nothing else I can do. And like Kim looks back at me and she just goes, she's like, we're not supposed to talk to each other like during this. But like she looks back at me and she's like, mine is so bad. And I grabbed mine and I lifted it up. And like, she's like, oh, you win. She's like, you win. And that kind of started the whole laughing process from like all of us, because then we're done and I'm bringing it up and like I go to put mine down and like Adela puts her hand on my back. She's like, oh no, what happened? And like all of us are just like laughing and they have to like kick us out of the tent because we're giggling. Yeah, it was rough.
the edit played you. They're like, of course they cut and they're like, oh yeah, you don't open the door because the steam gets out. And then they show you opening the oven. I'm like, come on, man. Like as if that were the problem. But no, there were.
Yeah, that was not the problem. That was probably like the least of my problems during that one.
Everybody stressed me out. Alma at one point was like, I don't think I have enough pastry. I'm like, ooh, worried about y'all this week.
Yeah. Well, Chris is judge first. So he gets to, knock this out first. In this situation, I think, hey, that's probably the best. It looks like a pond. It's a disaster. The crackling's awful. The shoe is terrible. The mousseline is terrible. There is no lid. And Prue was like, let's just move on from this one. And I was just like,
and he kept wanting to say stuff, and she was like, come on now.
It lasted longer than that. So like when people ask like how long does the judging and stuff last, I'm like, oh, it's like what you're seeing on TV is what happens. It's just like condensed. Yeah. Like they get like the bits and pieces and they condense it down so that it's, but like like both of them, like they ripped into me for that one, which it was deserved. Like sure. I earned it. Yeah.
Like, baby, chill. Adela's up next. It needed longer in the oven. Soft. It's neat. Inside of the shoe looks good. The flavor's all right. Just need a longer bake as you want the shoe nice and crisp. Kim, it's in one piece and stable, but again, underbaked. Tastes great though. Alma, not baked enough. Very soft. Good flavor, just wrong texture. Now what's crazy, not crazy, but what's interesting is Alma actually took hers out there and was like, I know shoe needs to be a little drier than that. So she put it back in the oven to give it a little more time, but she didn't have that much time to do it. So to further dry it out, but it just didn't, they still was like, nah, this is soft and it just ain't doing what we needed to do. Daniel, too pale. Green is like a swamp. Doesn't look appealing to eat, but it's nice and crisp. Just needed a longer bake. And so you hear all that and you're like,
damn.
Now, yeah, Chris, of course, you come in fifth here. Come on,
yeah, when they literally came down to like in fifth place, like I put my hand up, like you don't see it, but like it was like in fifth place. I'm like, yep, here we go.
But that's what. So it's like whatever. But then it's like you're like, okay, Chris had a bad week here, but like everybody else seemed to have a bad week too. So I'm just like, how's this one gonna get laid out? But here we go. Alma, it's not baked enough, and it's just not pretty. Was that necessary? Again, they was on one this week, y'all. Yeah. Kim, the pastry is a little underbaked, so it's relatively decent. Daniel, at least you had a crisp top. Oh. That's who came in second here.
Yeah.
Adela, nicely risen. Pastry good, sellable in a shop. I don't know why that seemed to offend. Are you saying this is going to be on the clearance rack? What are you saying exactly when you say it's saleable in a shop?
It was a compliment. I think it was a compliment because in Adela's interview after, she said it's not quite as good as worth the calories, but
I will accept it. And everybody, we applaud. We applaud because we like to celebrate whoever comes in first. And man, Paul was like, "Don't clap."
Yeah.
Like they were all bad, but somebody had to win.
Yeah. What it was. Yeah, and Adela's was not. I feel like they were a little rough on Adela. Adela's was I think a little bit better than they were given that credit for. Mine was definitely not. Mine deserved it. At one point during the judging, he actually he's like, "There's no crackling," and then he lifted it and he realized that I flipped it upside down and I did have crackling. It was just bottom. It was on the bottom. Yeah. So one of my favorite stories to come out of Bake Off was the next morning after this. So we would set up in the morning. So before the showstopper, we're setting up, we're making sure we have our ingredients in the morning, we're getting ready to go. And every once in a while, Prue would come in and she would just say good morning to us. And she'd stop at our bench and small talk a little bit. And she came over to my bench and she complimented me on the Tarte Tatin because she really liked the Tarte Tatin. She's like, "Oh, I'm still thinking about that Tarte Tatin." And then she's like, "And you were such a good sport yesterday, putting up with all of Paul's shit." And I looked around. I'm like, did anybody else hear that? Somebody else had to have heard that she said that, and nobody. That happened. But I feel like I'm the only person that knows that happened.
Well, you
and it was such like it kind of like knocked me. I'm like, is she allowed to say that? Like, can she say those words?
I love the notion that Dane Prue might be a little potty mouth. So that is what's up with that. Nick, set me up.
Showstopper challenge is an awe-inspiring vertical centerpiece of pie. The pie, must include a large pie base with decorative pastry and support at least 2 more pies. The pies can be sweet or savory. They can be closed or they can remain open, and they have 4 hours.
Nick G, were you showstopped this week?
No. Ooh. But I don't think it's any fault of the bakers. This pie thing, the pie is a showstopper. There's maybe been one time that I was like, oh, this was an amazing week for everyone.
Yeah.
I also, it's pie.
They got a thing for it over there. They really appreciate them a pie. So, you know what I'm saying? They grew up in cold times and pie wasn't all warming food. I get it.
I thought that there were some delightful offerings, but it was just like I thought Kim's was really beautiful. I loved Chris's, and I thought Daniel's was fun. Yeah. But it's just when I think of the scale of a showstopper, that's hard to achieve with pie.
Okay, fair. Adele's up top. She's going with I Dough, which again I love a fun title for one of these for these bakes and so forth. It's a pina colada inspired pie. It's going to be filled with a rum pineapple pie at the base, which is then topped with a coconut pastry cream side of situation. Then itself topped with another pie, which is a ginger and peach pie. I'm like, okay, I'm all down for that. Daniel's going for the then and now observatory tower. It's going to be a caramel apple pecan base at the bottom there with a tower that is then topped with his take on a banoffee pie. It's banana cream, almond brittle, and some toffee sauce. Love the idea, love it. Hate bananas, you know how it is. Kim, picnic flowers bring bees sunflower inspired because of their first date. Jerry brought Kim sunflowers. The base of the pie is a savory chicken and vegetable pie topped with a sweet chocolate pecan pie. Both pies are made in hot water crust, which isn't normally used for sweet pies. Alma, summer adventure across the pond, a pie version of Big Ben as it's Alma's first trip abroad. A buttermilk custard pie base along with a fruit and cream creme sablé House of Parliament. And I dug the idea of what did Paul say when he first whatever. I don't know. He clowned her some way right then. You know what I'm saying? When she first was like, "Oh, about Big Ben," it's like, relax, baby. Chris is going for a dinner at the cabin, chicken cordon bleu pie base with the cordon bleu logs and s'mores mini pies in the fire filled with chocolate and toast meringue and a graham cracker kind of crust situation. When we get there, I need you to explain that crust to me. Sound ideal, by the way. So there you go. Let's judge the output here. Chris is up top. Impressive look. The logs are painted beautifully. The pastry's baked underneath. They actually lift it up and cook underneath here. Overcooked a bit, but tasty. The s'more pie cut nice. Sounds like a good pastry. I like the ideal of sounds like a good pastry, but I know exactly what they mean when they say it at this point. The graham cracker effect works. If you're a s'mores fan, it's perfection. Prue, on the other hand, though, is not a s'mores fan. What's this effect of graham? What's going on here with the graham cracker? Explain it to me, please.
So I wanted to do like a s'mores pie. So I wanted like a graham cracker crust, but we have to like bake everything there.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the options that I would have had is I could have like baked like graham cracker style cookies, baked them, chopped them up, and then put them in a crust and did that. But like I researched recipes that had a similar effect. So it was kind of like a sablé like style biscuit, but it used a lot of there was like a whole grain flour, so it was definitely a grainier flour, and there was like honey and cinnamon and stuff like that in it. So it gave you that same kind of. It was a little bit like grittier than like a graham cracker crust would be, but it was that same kind of like feeling. Like it was crispy. It kind of tasted like a graham cracker. The texture was just like the texture was different than a graham cracker crust would have been, but it definitely gave that same. It was a similar vibe.
Okay, cool.
Those logs were fantastic.
It was
So
gorgeous.
beautiful.
Thank you.
So
I'm gonna be real
gorgeous.
with you. I was like, yo, that was very well done. So
The flames, everything, really great.
Kim, the design is exceptional. And then they pick up the pie and that bad boy just started running. A major leak.
She was like, I think I put my finger in it. And Paul was like,
The flavor's nice, but it's too watery. The pastry is so tough, it's offering me out for a fight.
ooh.
Don't be told that. The chocolate bourbon pecan pie looks like it can be used for a frisbee, but it's delicious. All it needs is a ball of vanilla ice cream. The filling delicious, but Paul's like, that pastry, nah. And then, like I said, he had made a point. Like hot water crust pastry is not going to be good for a sweet pie, in his opinion. I don't know. I think I saw a pro on this, and you roll that bad boy thin enough, you'd never know. Well, you'll know, but you won't worry about it.
And it looked so nice too. It was so pretty.
Yeah. The sunflower effect was really beautiful. She did a good job. Daniel, looks beautiful, very neat. They love the brickwork. The pastry's beautifully baked. The caramel works well. Digs the sharpness of the apple. Not convinced by the caramel pouring out the side. A bit messy. As for the banoffee, beautiful pastry. Too much caramel for Prue and a bit too sweet. Paul thinks the salted caramel works with the banana pudding, though. Not a meat pie, but the layers work together so well. Gorgeous. Spot on.
Smash.
Yeah. You know what? It was banana pudding. And I don't know what that pudding situation is going on. You know what I'm saying? Where is it strongly banana, or is it just like, a light essence of banana? I don't know, man. So I won't call it.
Smash.
Adela, very pretty, attractive design. Very pretty, attractive, comma. The design is exceptional. Prue likes the pastry, but thinks the pineapple layer is too sweet. Because Prue think everything too sweet. The smaller pie looks like a dog bowl. Doesn't look appealing. The ginger is very powerful. In fact, the peach doesn't get a look in. Which sometimes British turns a phrase. The peach don't get a look in, baby. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, Prue. I understand. But pastry's decent. So pretty good, decent week all around for a dog.
Also, I thought it looked really nice as well.
So did I.
Yeah, that dog bowl comment, I didn't understand.
It separate from the rest of the design, I can understand why you'd say that.
Yeah.
But together, it was water, and you get the effect. And you're like, oh, okay, I understand what we're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alma, have you actually seen Big Ben?
Why did he do her like that?
He was rough, and they cut out a lot, and like all of us are sitting there like, just stop, please just stop, please just stop.
Which is why at some point Prue's like, you got to stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm glad somebody had to put the brakes on my man.
And Prue, she was like, "Nah." As soon as I walked in, I was like, "There goes Big Ben." It was like me and the Golden Gate Bridge on my man's cookies earlier this
year. Not perfect. A bit too solid. Dry and not sweet enough. As for the sablé, delicious. Love the curd. Lack of decoration, though. And the custard was overbaked. So bad luck. That's all it is. I'm saying everybody has a week like that, and this week it was Alma's. Your star baker this go round is Adela. Word to the homie.
Yes.
I wrote her earlier today. What did she write? What did she say? I was just like, you got me clowning. I'm not the fun.
While you're looking for that, this discussion they were having about something being pants, and then they just rolled their eyes at the Americans because I don't know what that means. Like, tell me what it means. And they're like, they're going to cut this all out, and it all made it, and I still don't know what pants means.
It just means rubbish.
It means it's basically garbage, but it's like short for like underpants. like under, yeah.
When she said that looked like a 99-cent sponge. 99 cents for a
Oh
sponge.
my God. And Casey was like, well.
I was like, buddy, you just took me out. Sent home is Alma, and like I said, just a bad week, and that's okay. An amazing baker. Y'all in the same area, right? Y'all like in the same neck of the woods, right?
So the craziest thing is that Alma works 5 minutes from where I work. Alma went to the high school that I work for.
That's what Adela was
which
telling
is
us.
like, it's insane. So like we met each other for the first time in LA, like during callbacks, and we're like, everybody's introducing themselves to each other. And like when she like asked me, and I said, Sussex County, and she like looks at me and she's like, where do you work? I'm like, Wallkill Valley. She's like, I went there. I'm like, what? Crazy. So it was like the craziest thing. And then when I got cast, I got the phone call. I'm like, oh, well, I guess Alma didn't get it. I'm like, there's a 0% chance that they're going to take two people from the same like literally like 20 minutes apart from each other in Sussex County, New Jersey. And they did. Yeah, it was crazy.
I love it. Hey, in that first season, it was 3 people in Chicago, and they was all like neighbors. So I'm like, okay, well, I feel like the Roku could be like, yeah, man, we cool. Let it cook.
It seems like that first season there was like a big group from Chicago. Mm-hmm. Last season there was a big group from California. Mm-hmm. This season it was like a big East Coast group. Yeah. So they kind of like bounced around and spread it out.
We'll get some Southern bakers next go around. Okay, now we know.
Alma seemed great. She had some good bakes, but overall was having challenges with time and
it was the pressure of the tent. Yeah, the pressure of the tent got her. If you saw she showed me a picture of her Big Ben the night before we did the Showstopper, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm in trouble, man. Yeah. Like this thing was like, it was perfect. Like it was beautiful. But yeah, like you get like weird stuff happens when you're in there, and like time changes and just like your intuition changes, and it's just like you're trying to work through all this stuff. But yeah, her Big Ben, the Big Ben that she did at home, it was like beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. People, that was one heck of an episode of The Baking Show. I know we call it Bake Off, but in this case, it is America. So I have to respect its name over here, okay? You know what the deal is. And if you don't hear, I'm about to tell you what the deal is. Please join us every Tuesday around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or daylight time, depending on the time of the year. If you want to watch us record live and be in the chat, if you're on YouTube, please comment and subscribe, and also share the video with people you think will enjoy it. If you're listening to our podcast or Spotify, hit us with the 5 stars. Just bam, hit with them 5 stars. People, do it for me. Do it for me, baby. If you're so inclined, consider messaging us at podcast@stagecrunchyandmilk.com, or you can call, text, leave a voicemail at 216-264-6311. That's 216-264-6311. We would certainly love to hear from you. And of course, hear from you we have. So let me slide this screen over so I can jump over here.
While you're doing that, Kim reached out to me and sent me several pictures of her lovely dog in all of his lovely costumes. Like, my heart was warmed. I smiled, but also because Kim is amazing, she's like, you got me on the train crying when I was talking about the stand-up funerals. But I got to see the inspo photo for her Showstopper and a couple of other costumes. Just a lovely, handsome boy, and I'm sure he's missed very much.
Well, speaking of Miss Kim, over on the YouTube, she commented, baking is science you can eat. Love this and love you, Parwana. I agree. Open your own bakery, you shining star. Keep killing it, T and Nick. Loving this season even more because y'all have my friends on. What is better than that there? I love it, y'all. And of course, over on the Spotify page, my man Brad hit us up to tell me, me personally, I'm not joking when I tell you that. And he said, I want to pull it up so I can get it correct. And also, I think I need to approve it so it can go up. Published. I think it was already published. It says, yes, I would make your wedding cake, LOL.
Aww.
I don't need a wedding cake, sir. But like I said, if ever the opportunity presents itself, well, I mean, I guess if I ever just, do it. So, I'll holler at you, Brad. Thank you for that. Chris, man, thank you so very much for kicking it with us, bro. Giving us your time and hanging out and telling us about your experience in the tent. It's a delight to have you. As I've told everyone else that you're part of the family now. One day in the fall when Bake Off comes back, I may holler at you to say, hey, come review an episode with us. And I hope you do.
I'll be ready. Yeah, this is super fun.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
That is, of course, Nick Jew. We do this every week, y'all, for the next couple weeks. We only got a couple episodes left. Semifinals next week, y'all. That's a big deal. So, you know what I'm saying? Remember, the American version runs a little shorter. So we're getting to it, and we'll see what goes down next week. Part 1 is going to be back. And, of course, we lost that game. Sweet baby Jesus.
Oh, my God.
It's like, I want you to know I knew it because we could not hold that distance was not large enough.
I
knew
literally turned my head and my phone was like, game final. I'm like, no, they were just up by like 4.
Nope. I knew it. And that's okay, people. I'm sad the Cavaliers lost 2 games straight to the dang Pacers, but the Pacers was in the conference finals last year, so they're a good team. You know it. I know it. We're getting out of here. It's okay. We'll talk to you guys again next week. Peace.
What happened to your ass? It used to be beautiful.
Stays crunchy and milk.